What do you need?
Well, you've sure put a bee in Di Ravello's bonnet, and Costa del Porto is about to suffer the brunt of his, disappointment. I thought you and your pal would like to know.
Thanks, Sheldon. Mario, you there?
Destruction frenzy. You're supposed to probably go crazy.
Greetings. As part of our beloved General Di Ravello's Public Works Initiative, he's decided to raise Vita Electra and move towards a greener energy economy. It's just some routine control demolition, nothing to be concerned with. In fact, some armed man just took away my cell phone. Viva Medici!
I definitely can max that out. I didn't even get it because I left the area. I gotta make sure to destroy all the turbines though. All 8 of them. I have a perfect score. This definitely seems like the easiest challenge. Let's see what type of mods we'll get for flying vehicles. Glass grenade. Maybe it'll be glass grenade. Tether mod. Air vehicle. I'm pretty sure it'll be destructive. We'll get glass grenades probably. Selective grenades, more grenades. Those little upgrades. Definitely that I started playing this. This is definitely like something that gives me energy. As opposed to like just requiring me to give energy to it. About this. I guess I should try to time my combos. My helicopter. Oh, there's another one. So close, buddy. Really like wasting all this time. Trying to do this challenge. And the challenge. You can destroy your own helicopter points. I don't know what's up with that challenge. It seemed kind of bugged for the time that it ran out. I'm saying. I will. I think I just redid the challenge. Pressing spacebar. I actually found this thing. I was looking to see what graphics card I should get. So I'm going to upgrade to a 1440p graphics card. It was either going to be the AMD RX 7800 XT. It's just like an RX 7800. That's what we'll call it, right? Or the NVIDIA RTX 4070 Super. You know, you have the RTX 3000 series, which is 3060, 3070, 3080, 3090. You have the 4000 series, 4060, 4070, 4080, 4090. And then they're going to release, or at least announce soon, the 40 or the 5000 series, the 5060, the 5060, 5070, the 5080, the 5090. But the only real thing you need to know about is there's AMD and NVIDIA, which, you know, there's also Intel. Intel's starting, you know, Intel makes the processors. Intel's starting to make graphics cards. They have, like, the Intel Arc, something or other, you know, some numbers or something, right? But I'm either going to get the 4070, RTX 4070 NVIDIA brand, or the AMD 7800. And it's really all on price and performance, right? And basically the NVIDIA, the 4070 has better, you know, like plugins, and there's programs, and there's all types of things that NVIDIA has done to make the graphics card far superior to AMD. You know, streaming, if you want to stream at a high resolution and you want it to be smooth, you should get an NVIDIA card, because AMD doesn't have the same type of support as NVIDIA. Like, ever since I've started playing PC gaming and before, NVIDIA's always been like the elite graphics card, the preferred graphics card for people with some money, and it genuinely is better. But nowadays, it isn't. AMD's graphics cards perform better, and they're cheaper. But NVIDIA graphics cards, they're still better. even if they don't perform as good, even if they're more expensive. I was not making a video about this. They're still better. So, like, you know, in this case, here's an example. I have an NVIDIA 3060. You know, it's a very low-level graphics card, and it's not going to get you anywhere in 1440p unless you're playing like an old game like Team Fortress 2 or something, right? Or like Counter-Strike. Probably be fine. It's not that serious. Well, you know, I stream sometimes, right? And there's this thing called an NVIDIA Broadcast. You should use it personally. Like, I should be basically trying to get people using it, because it makes your mic quality much better. It can give you a green screen in cases where you don't actually have a green screen. Like right now, I just started using it today. I literally have a green screen now where I can put an image in the background, right? I can basically do anything like that. Like, I can find this nice field, this high resolution field, you know, picture of a field of nature, and put it in the background. And that would be like, you know, for my webcam, basically. And my audio sounds way better using this, you know, it's an NVIDIA feature. So I was thinking, well, NVIDIA is more expensive and doesn't perform as well, but what does the price really mean? What does NVIDIA making all this money really mean? What is the quality and them being better, or at least they were, them having been better and then being the preferred graphics card, what does that really amount to? If they lose, you know, like a lot of people like to compare performance. Like, okay, the RTX 4070 is an NVIDIA card, and the AMD equivalent is the RX 7800, which are the two cards I'm deciding, you know, which one am I going to get. And it's like, well, in reality, you can't really compare them because even though one of them costs more and they kind of perform the same, the RTX has so much more. It's part of like it's part of the legacy, part of a brand. It isn't just you're buying the RTX 4070. You're paying more money because it's NVIDIA and they used to be better. And you're paying for things like NVIDIA Broadcast, even though it's free, right? You're paying for things like, you know, being able to stream at a high resolution. You're paying for ray tracing. You're paying for things that, you know, if you're someone who doesn't know about computers or gaming, or you know, getting programs, you know, then you get an RX 7800 and you call it a day. But if you actually acknowledge that NVIDIA was better, and it did back in the day have all of the problems solved, and AMD had all of the problems, you have to kind of say you're right. We have to give NVIDIA the track record. Why are they charging more for graphics cards? Because they always have, and this is where they want it. This is where they want to sell it for. And you're saying, well, now it's not worth it, but it was. It was worth buying an NVIDIA graphics card over an AMD because you couldn't even play certain games using an AMD graphics card. Right? GPU. Now you can play all the games on AMD, but it's taken so long for that to happen. People have spent money on a product that doesn't actually work. And it was cheaper though. So AMD is cheaper, but it doesn't have any features. It has 0 features. Right? Like now they're starting to release some features, but it's almost too late for them to have the same track record as NVIDIA. They have a very poor track record. Nowadays they're kind of cool. Right? But I think I'll make a separate video about this, arguing why NVIDIA's higher prices aren't really a reflection of now because they're being outperformed by AMD, but it's the cumulative kind of legacy and stamp that NVIDIA has. It's like if you're Tupac. If Tupac, you can release an album tomorrow about you be streaming and stuff, and it's like it don't matter. He's Tupac. Like it's the same thing. Like he's already doing what you need to do to be considered great. Right? So like, if I'm gonna get the RX 7800, but I end up streaming, I should have got the 4070, right? If I get the RX 700, but I wanna have things like NVIDIA Broadcast, right? And I wanna have ray tracing. I have to support NVIDIA for them to continue to give you other aspects that are basically free, right? Like if you lump in the programs and the ray tracing, you know, then $100 more is almost like cheap, right? Like here's the list. You have RX 7800 1440p graphics card. It actually performs better than an RTX 4070 and it's cheaper. But in reality, what do you get from having NVIDIA products? You get a lot more than a graphics card that's $100 cheaper and performs better could really ever give you. Like I bought Metro Exodus. I was gonna play Metro Exodus, you know, on the channel, but you know, it ended up being that they released a PC enhanced version that requires you to utilize ray tracing. And my current computer cannot run the enhanced version. But if I get the RTX 4070, ray tracing, and there's a game out that you have to have ray tracing if you want to use the enhanced version. So if I want to play 1440p games and have ray tracing, why would I get the RX 40 or 7800? It doesn't make sense. It makes sense for like 5 seconds, but you know now. I forgot. I think it was the drivers. The drivers for AMD used to be pretty poor, where you couldn't play certain games. Now they fixed them. But if you're already using NVIDIA during that period where they weren't working, it doesn't matter because you already have the solution. Why would you suddenly take that away from NVIDIA that they just dominated all these years, solving all the issues? I'm saying, like, it doesn't even make sense.
Easy.
it's not really fair to Nvidia. You know, they always have sold things for higher prices, but it's worth it. Like you can say your dad paid for Nvidia, now you have Nvidia Broadcasting. What if you pay for it? Right? You're gonna have ray tracing. You're gonna have 4K. You're gonna have 1440p. Right? People say, well, if you're a gamer, you should buy budget hardware. Like, no, because people bought budget hardware, and it was budget hardware. It had issues. People don't want to buy a computer, especially people who don't know anything, want to have issues. People, I feel like emotionally, you know, are willing to believe in having a computer, a gaming computer, and pay for a gaming computer. Pay the price. Like, if you want to buy a budget computer, then at least buy a budget Nvidia graphics card, right? Like, if you're willing to pay for a PlayStation and not really get much other than just a gaming console, maybe like a Netflix machine. Like back in the day, it just, you know, Netflix machine. Back in the day. Now I don't know what, you know, maybe Spotify, I don't know. Whatever machine. YouTube machine. It was already a YouTube machine. If you really want to buy a budget console, or if you really want to buy a console, pay $500. Buy a controller for like $60. Buy games for $60. $70. Why?
Nice.
Why tell people to buy a budget PC? Because, you know, PC has a lot of games on, so you can get a nice, you know, Razer mouse for like a couple bucks, right? You can get a nice keyboard. You can get a desk. Like, the price will eventually add up anyway. Even if you buy a budget computer, you have to buy a desk. If you buy a budget computer, you still have to get a monitor. You still have to buy a mouse. Even if you get a budget computer, you still have to have internet. You still have to have money to buy games. You still have to be able to fix your computer for breaks. Right? What the heck? Even if this, then that, right? And because you have a computer, you're going to want to play all the games. You can't play all the games if your computer can't run them.
Do not let him escape.
Those looks up. Oh wow, that would have smacked into me. We're looking for something to blow up, like a statue.
Target has left the area.
Right? I would say, look, buy a computer, build your own computer, you know, just to see the price. Buy your own computer case. It's like $100 at least. Maybe cheaper. We'll say $100. Buy some RAM. Buy some storage. And these days, you're gonna need so much storage. If you get a budget computer, you're gonna be upset by the amount of storage you're gonna get. You might get 2 terabytes. You might. But really, you want 4. You want 8 terabytes. Right? Like, you want a lot of memory. You want at least 4. We're not gonna say 8. You want 4. Like, you don't want a budget computer. So my point being, in reality, you don't really want an AMD graphics card, because they just now got their stuff together, and they're just now releasing things like ray tracing or frame, like some AI frame creation, where they're like using AI to predict what frame you'll need and using that to increase frame rate. That's not even out yet. And if it is, you might not even need it, unless you're buying a cheap AMD graphics card that can't run certain games. Right? But there's already features, there's already programs, there's already ray tracing, there's already some type of AI usage in Intel, or not Intel, Nvidia. So why go AMD? Because I just want to play League of Legends. Like, that's a lie, buddy. No one buys a computer to play League of Legends and only play League of Legends. There's always something that comes out that they can't probably even run because they have a computer that can't really handle it. And, you know, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, you know, a couple years from now, like, you really will have trouble running some games. And you won't be able to run it because you want it to be you want to be resolute, you want to say, no, I only play League of Legends. No one plays League of Legends exclusively. No one buys a computer to play one game. Like, I'm sure, yeah, well, I did. No, you didn't. You lie. Just spend more money to get, you know, the NVIDIA. Just get the NVIDIA. People on a budget, you need to go not buy a computer anyway. If you're already on a budget, you're gonna end up on more of a budget if you have to fix your computer, because, or you have to upgrade it or something, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to be on a budget buy a computer anyway. It's not a good argument, because computers cost money. It's gonna cost you like $1,000 or something anyway to get a computer together. You might as well have $500 more or $1,000 more, $2,000 to get it really going. Looking for a billboard, or whatever they're called. Like, people that swear by budget computers and are trying to help you build it don't have a budget computer, or at least don't have budget computer knowledge, or they know why you should not have a budget computer. But it's almost like they never explain this. Okay, raise the flag. It's like if I told you to buy a car that was very cheap, but I didn't tell you that everyone buys a car that's cheap, and it doesn't usually work out. Right? Like, there's like a risk. That'd be a better explanation. There's a risk to you buying a cheap computer, a risk to buying...
Are you gonna shout all day, or are you gonna pull the trigger?
Someone report. What's the situation? Have we lost him?
You know, there's just a risk to buying anything cheap. Even though going on Steam Market or Steam Store and seeing that games are cheap, maybe they're not good games. They're so cheap.
Friends,
Like, the original price is already pretty low. Maybe they're not that good. Right? There's a risk. You can save money, but it can cost you money to save money. You're going to save money now, but it's going to cost you in the future. Because back in the day, it cost me. I'm just saying, this is my personal experience. I couldn't run GTA 5 because my computer, AMD processor, AMD graphics card, mostly the processor, didn't have the drivers. It couldn't run GTA 5. I couldn't play GTA 5. So it's like, or no, I couldn't even play Max Payne 3. I couldn't play a lot of games. I couldn't play Serious Sam 3. Back in the day, these were the games to play. Nowadays, these are like ancient games from an ancient era. But I couldn't play games. But now it's like, that's not an issue, but it was. So now, you have to say, well, it wasn't for NVIDIA. Now NVIDIA has ray tracing. Now NVIDIA has NVIDIA broadcasting. Why not spend the extra money? Why would you keep spending money on AMD where you're not going to get anything out of the company, right? Like, you're not going to get that many features. It's not really reasonable to think that someone with a computer wouldn't use it for more than one thing eventually. Maybe they bought it for, wait, what is this? It's like treasure or something? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? They bought it for League of Legends, then they're gonna watch YouTube. You know, then they need speakers, they need... You know what I'm saying? Like, then they want to play Dota or something. It just doesn't really... What's going on here, buddy? I see something over here.
Day 1. My psychiatric evaluator misunderstood the importance of giving me a clean bill of health. I explained that I do not lack a sense of moral responsibility. I simply disagree with his morality, or rather, his mortality. So begins my military career. The chessboard now lay before me, filled with the possibility of ultimate victory.
I can go on all day about why NVIDIA is still better, right? Nowadays, it's like AMD's cheaper, it performs better, but why is NVIDIA still better? Because it counts what they did before. It counts what they're building because of what they did before and how there wasn't any issues or any problems. No one's going to tell you they have a problem with an NVIDIA graphics card other than it died or something. Which is like, you know, Just like a random happening where the GPU died. But AMD graphics cards also, you know, they stopped working as well. No one's gonna tell you they had like an issue with software because of their hardware, and that's the point. You buy hardware, which is like a CPU, a GPU, a physical, basically component, so you can use software, so you can use games, so you can use the internet. No one's gonna tell you they have a problem with any software with their NVIDIA graphics card, unless it's like it can't perform well enough to handle the task. In that case, you just need a better graphics card. Ouch. I think I'm gonna get out of here. When I come back, I probably will be doing more. Oh! I'll probably be doing more of these challenges. I just unlocked some more. I'll be doing some more of them. What is this? What are these, like, wheelies? These, like, jumps? You can't even zoom in any more than that. I don't even know. But yeah, like, I'm probably gonna grab the 4070 Super because it was brought to my attention. Right? It wasn't something I knew about. It was brought to my attention. Like, okay, well, here's what we're gonna tell you. We're gonna tell you to get the RX 7800 because it performs better and it's $100 cheaper. But no one told me that there was an NVIDIA broadcast, which wouldn't exist without NVIDIA currently or previously having made money and had good products. And people trusting NVIDIA to say, okay, I'm gonna download NVIDIA broadcast. No questions asked. I'm not gonna check under my desk for like a mouse or something. So it shouldn't be in here, like a hole in the wall from some animal chewing through it. So I am probably gonna get the RTX 4070 Super, which the performance compared to the regular RTX and the price and those things are valid points. But what are we gonna get ray tracing? When are we gonna get things, not because, you know, ray tracing is NVIDIA's thing, but what are we gonna get things like NVIDIA broadcast from AMD? When are we gonna get things that are free or are additions? You know what I'm saying? If you're just paying for, if you're just gonna go for price and performance, of course AMD wins. But in 10 years from now, what is AMD gonna give us? What is AMD gonna show us? Right? Because at the end of the day, you always could just get a better NVIDIA graphics card that has better performance. You can always outperform with NVIDIA, I think, right? You can always get something better. But the price is really like the only thing. Like pound for pound, yeah, the RX 600 is better, but if I want to stream, NVIDIA already has the solution. I can stream at 1080p. You can't stream at 1080p. I mean, you probably could, but it's not information out there that, you know, is readily available. I can Google RTX or RX 6 or 7800 encoding or streaming. There's nothing really gonna pop up on the first link. The first link of an NVIDIA is yes, you can. So like that's part of that's part of buying a computer. Do you want to buy like some brand that no one's heard of, you know, which is common? Like, people buy stuff that isn't from like popular brands, and they're probably not any problems, but it's definitely sketchy. Like, you might not get that much customer service and all that, right? There's more than just I saved money on a cheeseburger. Like, a cheeseburger might not even be that high quality.
Get them to safety.
Engaging the target. All units converge on the following coordinates.
Like, I really was like, okay, I'm gonna save $100 and get the RX 7800, and it's like, well, what am I gonna get out of it besides performance and price? Probably nothing. The drivers are there, but that's an argument that could have been made why you shouldn't have bought AMD back in the day.
Calling off search. Target
Right.
no longer an area.
So, like, we're gonna say the drivers for AMD aren't 100%. They're definitely better than they were. We're gonna say like they're like 90%. It might even be lower, but 90. Like little events everywhere. But what about NVIDIA broadcast? What about ray tracing? If I want to play Metro PC Enhanced and I need ray tracing abilities, why not? Why not get a product that's going to have features? And there's going to be something out in the world that benefits from having that product, that brand. It's like having an iPhone. Everyone has an iPhone, so you benefit from that community of iPhone users. What if I had an Android? No one's going to be my friend. What if that's what you'd want? You want stuff that doesn't even make sense to have, but you have it because you have an iPhone. Like I would say, a lot of veterans would say the 4000 series performance isn't that much better than the 3000 series. But if you're a veteran, you're going to argue that the 4000 series isn't much of an upgrade. How much of a downgrade was AMD back in the day? Like you can't just argue the current generation of hardware, because you know you're going to always try to factor in what worked before or what is cheaper and works now. Like it's not really sensible. Like if I was going to say that iPhone's better than Android, and at some point it really isn't. It was, and it could be, and because it was, it has that prestige. It has like that legacy, basically, right? There's like a porch or something. What is this? Just a random car on the side of the road. Looks nice to me. It's pretty slow compared to the car that I found from my friend's house. But like, you have to really be fair. I got to start with the very first AMD graphics card, or the very first processor, heard of NVIDIA, and the features, and the rollout, and the marketing. Like it's just cooler to have an NVIDIA graphics card. It's just cooler. But if that's not a factor, that NVIDIA is just cooler in some ways. Like my opinion, just like an NVIDIA game with an NVIDIA, like it says NVIDIA, that's just cooler. Just higher quality. If you can't argue that and use it as part of your argument, then you have to never use it for AMD. Anything that you take away from NVIDIA, AMD can't use it either. So all AMD eventually have is price and performance, which isn't necessarily always true. The performance wasn't always better. The price probably was always better. The price, yeah, always better. But my argument to that is, if you're going to get into computers, it's going to be pricey. In reality, there's no budget computer. Like unless you're like a little kid with no responsibilities, and you can't really wait for a computer, you just spend your money. Cool. But we're not going to let a little kid who knows nothing about computers, or someone who doesn't have the money to spend, decide what the right choice is, because it's really just financial to them. It's not genuinely that AMD is better or they prefer AMD. They don't have a choice. We're talking about if you had a choice, or you could argue that you should wait longer to get a PC. Like, come on, bro. Alright, I'm gonna get up out of here though. I don't want to just talk about AMD Intel for 8 hours, because we already know that the PC community, or the PC users, whether they be gamers or editors or Photoshop users, whatever, I don't know, data miners, AI enthusiasts, they're split in so many different ways. They have so many different needs and purposes, and they're all different people. Everyone isn't the same. So like, we're not going to argue when at the end of the day someone might accept that NVIDIA does have some superior things going on, or Intel's better than AMD, but like they didn't got the money for that, or they don't really care to spend the money for it. If I was somebody who had money, I wouldn't ever tell anyone to buy AMD, because it wouldn't be fair to them when you could have your AMD build, but you also secretly, or in the other room, have an Intel NVIDIA 4090, right? Like that's not That's not fair because they didn't know that that was an option because you wouldn't tell them because it was budget. You gave them the budget option. Right. Like creating, like, because you can relate people who are like more of a budget state, or you can use them as like a giant fan base or someone you can talk to. It's not really fair. I know that you wouldn't have 1,000 NVIDIA listeners with NVIDIA graphics cards strapped to their head. Like, it's not really fair to the individual, right? All right, I'm gonna get up out of here. Hopefully the audio actually worked. I'm gonna make sure after this. If not, then I'm in trouble. I'm missing like a couple missions and stuff, but whatever. It's cool.